Hey now, what is up everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and I am here to review and talk about Batman Returns. Yes, this movie came out in 1992. It was directed by Tim Burton, and the plot is at the very beginning of the movie, you see this wealthy family, the Cobblepotts. They just had their firstborn son, but unfortunately, their firstborn son is a little disfigured, a little grotesque. And they're so disgusted by him that they decide to take the baby stroller that he's in and toss it into the river, sends him into the sewer, and some 30 or so years later, he grows up to become the Penguin. And that's where you see Danny DeVito as Oswald Cobblepot, who now hates humanity. Now has all this built up anger and frustration that he plans on taking out of everybody in Gotham. Of course, Batman is there to try to stop him, but Batman also has to deal with this new villain in town, Selina Kyle, aka Catwoman. Now, what I think of Batman Returns is, I love this movie. I do, and I say it like that because I know a lot of people do not like this movie. A lot of people hate this movie. A lot of people just see this film as so silly, so goofy, so far towards the left that why? Why do I love this film as much as I do? This is one of the first Batman movies that I watched as a kid. It was. I watched it so many times, over and over. So for that, yes, there are some nostalgic things about it. But there has been movies that I've rewatched, I used to love as a kid, and then I've watched them now, and I see that they suck, or I hate them now. It's happened. So I'm just going to say that there is a big part of me that just enjoys this movie for what it is. First, let's talk about Danny DeVito as the Penguin. Is he traditionally what the Penguin is in the comics, or what people know the Penguin to be? No. Is this my first version of the Penguin that I saw? Yes. So I don't mind how weird he is, how just disgusting he looks, and how he clearly was raised in the sewer, and how he has all of these penguins as pets or friends. He's with this circus gang that he uses. I know he says a lot of lewd, crude, and just gross things to women especially throughout the film, but I sit here and I watch this movie and I watch Danny DeVito, and first of all, it's just a great performance. Whether or not you think it's a good Penguin or you like this version or not, you have to admit that Danny DeVito really delivers as this character and this tortured type of person. I mean, look, he has one of the most messed up villain plots ever. His plan is to take all of the firstborn sons of Gotham, kidnap them all, and drown them in a river. Just to make everybody almost suffer or feel what he went through. That's insane. It is. But not just that, he when he gets out into the public, he has this facade of wanting to find out about his birth parents and wanting to see where he comes from. That's what he says to the public. A lot of people buy into it, believe it, and feel bad for him. And then there's a moment where he decides to run for mayor. And then he gets caught up into it. The people start to react to him and like him, and he genuinely likes it.
Let's make a mayor.
Well, that's due in part to Max Schreck, who is played by Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken in this movie is so interesting to watch because there are scenes where I do think he's having fun. There are scenes where he is enjoying being this guy who's clearly a villain, and he has a certain amount of power, and he's doing whatever he wants, and his scenes with the Penguin are great. And then there's other scenes where I do feel like he feels this is silly, and it's almost like he doesn't know why he's here. That brings me to Michelle Pfeiffer as Selina Kyle, because Michelle Pfeiffer, she's Max Schreck's assistant, secretary, whatever you want to call it. And at the beginning, she's the shy, timid woman who just doesn't know how to speak out for herself, defend herself, come off as strong like she wants to. And I know, this is not Selena Kyle, technically, right? This isn't Selena Kyle from the comics, that attitude that you like about her. It's the complete opposite. And I know that people don't like that. But, whatever. Because what makes it work is Michelle Pfeiffer. If Michelle Pfeiffer wasn't as good as she was, then yeah, maybe I would say that this version of Catwoman sucks. But she's so into it. She commits 100%. There are scenes where she's giving a performance that so excel the script. I love the moments of her being like this lonely person who comes to her house and she's like, oh, I forgot, I'm not married. She's talking to her cats and she's kind of pathetic. And then Max Schreck tosses her out of a window. And she doesn't die, I guess? Or does she? I don't know. This is very weird. When she falls out of the window, she's on the ground, and then all of the cats in the alley come out and start biting her, and they're doing whatever the hell they're doing. It's weird. Do they resurrect her from biting her? I don't know. I like to think, me trying to make logic out of this, I like to say that she didn't die from the fall, that maybe going through those things broke her fall, and the cats woke her up, and then you get the, I guess, transformation scene where she goes back to her apartment, trashes the place, and makes her Catwoman costume. That's where Danny Elfman's score really comes in. His score for both of these Batman movies have worked, have been great. But this movie especially, in fact, there's so many movies after this that Danny Elfman has scored where I hear certain tracks and I say, that's from Batman Returns. You're reusing stuff that you did in Batman Returns, probably because he knows that this is some of his best music and material. I should probably talk about Batman, right? Bruce Wayne, this is his movie. He's once again played by Michael Keaton. His introduction scene of him just sitting there in the dark at Wayne Manor, and when the chaos is going on with the gang and the circus, and they finally lit the bat signal, and the reflection goes into his window. It's so heroic, it's so awesome, it's so Batman. Almost sad in a way that this is his life, right? He's just sitting around in the dark waiting, like there's nothing for him to do as Bruce Wayne. He's waiting to be Batman, waiting to be his true self. However, I say true to the character, right after that, what does he do? He goes off and starts viciously killing this circus gang. In so many different ways. He lights one of the guys on fire with the Batmobile. Later on, he blows a guy up with a bomb. Like, this Batman kills, and he's vicious about it. Again, I don't love a Batman who kills, but it is what it is. There's not a whole lot I can do. I grew up on this Batman, and hey, it didn't screw me up. Batman, when he discovers the Penguin and what he supposedly wants to do, he doesn't trust him. He goes with his first instinct and his right instinct of investigating him. I love the scenes of him just patrolling the streets in the Batmobile and watching him in the library as he's copying the names. And Bruce Wayne's onto him. The best thing about Bruce Wayne in this movie, where Michael Keaton really gets to shine, is his relationship, that stuff with Selena Kyle. When the two of them start to date, when the two of them have their moments, like when they're in his living room and they're just talking to each other, talking about past relationships, and then when they're kissing and they're touching each other's, like, where their injuries are from when they were Batman, Catwoman, but they're trying to hide it from each other. I love that dynamic. And the moment where they do fight each other as Batman, Catwoman, not knowing who each other are, and she licks his face, which isn't weird. I would take that from her. And then he sees the mistletoe, and the mistletoe can be deadly if you eat it line. I love that, especially at the ball scene.
A kiss can be even deadly.
And the acting in that scene That's what makes you care about these two characters especially. That's what makes you care about this whole movie. And what the point of all of this movie is to create characters that you care about. Create a dynamic, a situation where you want to see her get saved. You want to see Batman save Catwoman and stop her from her madness, from her vendetta on wanting to kill Max Schreck. We have Michael Goff back as Alfred, and Alfred is better in this movie especially. I even love the moment where Bruce Wayne calls him out on the whole Vicky Vale moment. Yes, Alfred, they had to address it. They had to make him feel stupid. Even Alfred's reaction of it, just looking down, and he knows he effed up. Pat Hingle as Commissioner Gordon. I said before how he doesn't really do a whole lot in this movie, and it's true here, but the one scene where he gets on the news and he shows the batarang, and he's telling them how this was left at the crime scene where the Ice Princess is missing. Clearly Oswald, clearly the Penguin is framing Batman to be a bad guy, but and Gordon should know better. Gordon, who is working with Batman now, who trusts Batman now, who has a bat symbol to call out for help whenever they need Batman's help. And he's so quick to get on the news and tell the public that possibly Batman was involved in this. It's no wonder the crowd turns on him. It's no wonder the cops are quick to shoot at him, even though you tell them to hold their fire. It's like, no, Gordon, a lot of this is your fault. I talked about how Catwoman, you don't know if she was resurrected by cats, right? Is there some magical, mystical stuff going on with her? Well, does she have 9 lives? They have this kind of ongoing joke, but almost you don't know if it's just a joke, right? If she has these 9 lives, she falls from a building and says that's 1 life. The Penguin tries to kill her, drops her into a glass house, and then at the end of the movie, where she's going after Max Schreck and he's shooting at her.
4, 5.
I watched that scene and I do love it. I love how creepy it is, how weird it is, how it isn't really explained, and you almost don't want to explain, because if they did have a moment where they sat down and said, this is the powers of cats and all, if they did that, then yeah, it would be some bullshit. The end of the movie with the Penguins all with their missiles, and they're all going towards the middle of the city of Gotham. They're all gonna, I guess, blow it up. It's very weird. You go from wanting to kill all of the kids to now you're going to use your penguins to blow up Gotham. And then Batman has to redirect the signal and send them back to where the Penguin is. It's just like the one scene where Batman's in the bat boat or whatever, and he's trying to drive through, and literally penguins are shooting missiles at Batman. And like Batman has a moment where he dodges it and then looks back like, did I really just get shot at by penguins? Woohoo! And imagine at the time, parents thought this movie was too dark, too serious, too scary, and in some senses they're right. In some ways, there's many lines, there's many moments where penguin or just something dark and maybe even sexual is being underlined, is going on. So I could see maybe that, but overall, this movie is silly. This movie is goofy. But for me, does it work? For me, is it a fun film that I can still put in, I can still quote, I can still laugh, I can still have fun, I can still enjoy this movie as much as I do? Yes! So guys, let me know in the comments below. Do you at least understand why I love this movie as much as I do? Do you like it as well? Or do you think it sucks? It would not be the first time I heard it. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!